we live in interesting times. Today's stories. World Health Organization Director General says 4 Ebola responders have been killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Broken that people have died in the line of duty.
General shut down in Goma to protest security conditions in Congo. Victims of eye injuries protest in front of Chile's presidential palace. The World Health Organization says more than 5,000 measles deaths have been reported in DRC this year.
We estimate, the country estimates that there have been...
Hondurans living with HIV find support in a mountain shelter. Bangladesh's air quality soars to the world's worst. Invasive disease keeps Florida's orange industry under a tight squeeze. Outdoor schooling. Kids learn to live amongst nature in Quito's forest. Plus, the Iglesia Ni Cristo and Bloodworks Northwest join hands in helping a Seattle community.
By all those who donated at the...
This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I'm Ace Ramirez. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus speaks after 4 Ebola workers were killed in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. On November 4th, the authorities said more than 300 attacks on Ebola health workers had been recorded since the start of the year, leaving 6 dead and 70 wounded, some of them patients.
Last night, 2 attacks in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo killed 4 workers responding to the Ebola outbreak. The attacks occurred overnight on a shared living camp in Biakato Mines and an Ebola Response Coordination Office in Mangina. We're heartbroken that people have died in the line of duty as they work to save others. The world has lost brave professionals. These constant attacks must stop. As you know, Ebola was retreating. In the last week, there were 7 cases of Ebola, down from a peak of over 120 per week in April 2019. Any interruption to the response could lead to a resurgence in the outbreak, and more people will die as a consequence. Last night,
a local UN source said Thursday 4 Ebola workers in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have been killed, adding to the toll of people who have died fighting the nearly 16-month-old epidemic. The source said a person working for the Congolese Health Ministry and 2 drivers were killed overnight Wednesday when an armed group attacked a complex in Bayakato, Ituri province, where Ebola workers lived. The source said 1 person is reported missing and 5 others wounded. Another attack in Mangina, which is also in Ituri province, was repelled. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said in a tweet, and I quote, "Attacks by armed groups in Bayakato Mines and Mangina in #DRC have resulted in deaths and injuries amongst #Ebola responders. We are heartbroken that our worst fears have been realized. Our focus is caring for the wounded and ensuring staff at other locations are safe." In an outbreak of the much-feared hemorrhagic virus has killed 2,199 in North and South Kivu and Ituri provinces since August 1, 2018, according to the latest official figures. It is the Democratic Republic of Congo's 10th Ebola epidemic and the second deadliest on record after an outbreak that struck West Africa in 2014 to 2016, claiming more than 11,300 lives. Insecurity has complicated epidemic from the outset, compounding resistance within communities to preventative measures, care facilities, and safe burials. Vast tracts of eastern DRC are in the grip of armed groups, especially a shadowy militia called the Allied Democratic Forces, or ADF. The armed forces launched an offensive in the region on October 30th, prompting a wave of massacres of civilians by suspected ADF men. According to the not-for-profit Congo Research Group, or CRG, 99 people have been killed by armed groups in the Beni area alone since November 5. The bloodshed has sparked a wave of anger at the authorities and the UN mission in the DRC. 7 people have died in protest since Saturday. A general shutdown is in place in the DRC city of Goma at the call of the urban civil society group to protest the security situation in the country and in solidarity with massacre victims. Over 100 people have been killed in and around Beni since November 5. The vast majority carried out by the Allied Democratic Forces, or the ADF militia. The massacres have sparked protests against the local United Nations peacekeeping mission, but on Friday, World Health Organization officials involved in the response to Ebola in Ituri province were brought back by MONUSCO to the city of Goma.
Jukumu ya kuweza kusapoti hiyo malalamiko na maumivu yote ambao wandugu wa Beni wanasikia, na kwa hiyo tunasema siku ya 5 ni siku bila kazi. Kila mmoja atabaki nyumbani pake, wachuuzi, wa motar, wa shofer, wafanyakazi wote kwenye vituo vya serikali, kwenye ma NGO, kila mtu yule ambaye anaishi ndani ya mji wa Goma. Tunapenda tusukume government ya Kongo kuweza kuchukua jukumu lake ili ikomeshe maafa ambayo inafanyika Beni, vile vile kwa Umoja wa Mataifa kuweza kutia mkazo, sababu haiwezekane watu wauawe kama nyama mbele ya macho ya majeshi ya Umoja wa Mataifa, mbele ya waaskari. Ijapokuwa tunatoa hongera sababu siku si nyingi hapa tumeona operation mbalimbali ambazo jeshi letu la Kongo ambazo tunapigia mikono limekuwa likiwafuata hao wahuni wa ADF.
Meanwhile in Chile, victims who paid with their eyes the price of violent repression during clashes in Santiago protest in front of the government's presidential palace, whilst the country's police force, or carabineros, are under scrutiny over various human rights violations.
Perdí la visión total y recién el jueves pasado me pudieron sacar el balín y ahora tengo que, también me sacaron el ojo y voy a tener que ocupar una prótesis, eso para toda la vida.
Perdí la visión de mi ojo, no tuve estallido ocular, pero no puedo ver, no veo ni luz, ni sombra, ni nada. Todo en manos del Estado y por dirección del presidente, que les dio a esto la atribución de hacer lo que quisieran, a militares y carabineros.
Looters sacked a hotel and several supermarkets in Chile in another night of unrest as tensions flared in the crisis-hit South American country. Defense Minister Alberto Espina warned Congress in an appearance Wednesday, said the violence, and I quote, is reaching levels not seen in Chile since the return of democracy in 1990. The flare-ups in several towns and cities overnight came with the national police under fire for using excessive force against street protesters and abusing detainees. Human Rights Watch, which on Tuesday accused the police of serious human rights violations, said it had received hundreds of reports of abuses, including beatings and sexual assault. Meanwhile, university student Gustavo Gatica became the first demonstrator to be left fully blind after being hit in the eyes by pellets fired by riot police on November 8 during a protest in Santiago. Gatica's case has become a symbol among the more than 200 demonstrators who have suffered eye injuries, often resulting in being blinded in one eye, from rubber bullets and pellets fired by riot police. Residents in some towns display their anger by banging on pots and pans. In La Serena, a beach town 300 miles north of Santiago, assailants looted and set fire to a traditional downtown hotel, the Costa Real. Vandals in the port city of San Antonio, in the region of Valparaiso, torched the offices of the local newspaper El Líder. Further south in Concepcion, a massive protest held amid a strike by the country's main labor union ended in violent clashes between hooded protesters and police. In Santiago, a metro station in a university district in the center of the city was vandalized during the night, forcing its closure Wednesday. The city's metro system is still recovering from attacks October 18, when a hike in metro fare set off the violent protests against the government of President Sebastián Pinera. Wednesday morning, activists demanding an end to highway tolls blocked main roads into Santiago, causing traffic jams. In other news, the World Health Organization said last week measles has killed more than 5,000 people in the DRC since January, more than double the toll in the country's Ebola epidemic.
Right now, the DRC outbreak is the largest outbreak worldwide. It's one of the largest that we've seen. It's all over the country. It's not restricted to certain parts of the country. And we estimate, the country estimates that there have been, as I said, over 250,000 cases and over 5,000 deaths attributable to measles, which of course is more than Ebola, substantially more than Ebola, and most of these are in children and babies. Right now,
the World Health Organization said as of November 17, the country had registered 250,270 measles cases, including 5,110 deaths.
The country estimates that there have been, as I said,
Hondurans living with HIV/AIDS are finding help and support in a private shelter nestled in the mountains near the capital, Tegucigalpa, as the country continues to grapple with the disease.
Tomando sus antirretrovirales, pues tiene una calidad de vida bien, pues. Puede hacer una vida normal, trabajar, en caso muchas mujeres aún con el virus, pues tienen su pareja, han tenido hijos que no nacen con el virus, pero tienen una buena adherencia y un buen medicamento, por supuesto. Que nuestra misión es reducir el impacto de las personas con VIH en Honduras, en nuestro país prácticamente, reducir el estigma, ayudar a las personas.
Up next, Bangladesh's air quality soars to the world's worst. Invasive disease keeps Florida's orange industry under a tight squeeze. Outdoor schooling. Kids learn to live amongst nature in Quito's forest. Plus, the Iglesia Ni Cristo and Bloodworks Northwest join hands in helping a Seattle community. Eagle News will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C. I'm Ace Ramirez. Bangladesh said it will shut hundreds of soot-belching brick kilns around its capital Dhaka as part of measures to reduce thick smog enveloping the city and pushing air quality levels to among the world's worst. Residents in several other cities in South Asia, including India's capital New Delhi and Lahore in Pakistan, have also been breathing toxic smog in recent weeks amid uncontrolled emissions and crop burning. Air Visual, an independent online air quality index monitor, or AQI, pegged Dhaka's air quality as the poorest in the world on Monday.
সাম্প্রতিক সময়ে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে এই আবহাওয়ার তারতম্য এবং বাতাসে ধূলিকণা এবং বাতাস দূষিতজনিত কারণে এই রেসপিরেটরি প্রবলেমের রোগীর সংখ্যা বিশেষ করে বাচ্চারা অ্যাফেক্টেড হচ্ছে এবং সাম্প্রতিক সময়ে আমাদের হসপিটালে এই রোগের সংখ্যা ক্রমান্বয়ে বেড়ে চলেছে।
Environment Minister Mohammad Shahabuddin told reporters, and I quote, "The situation is very critical. Just a few days ago, air quality of Dhaka was the 3rd or 4th worst in the world. But now, it tops the ranking." Uddin announced a range of measures to combat the severe pollution levels, including shutting down illegal brick kilns and sprinkling water on major roads and construction sites twice a day. Uddin said waste burning would be halted at dozens of sites and trucks carrying construction materials, such as sand, would have to be recovered. Deputy Attorney General Abdullah Al-Bashar said the government was backed by the High Court, which ordered the closure of the illegal kilns by the next 15 days. As part of longer-term efforts, the government said it would phase out the use of bricks in its construction projects. Soot from brick kilns, which use coal and wood to make bricks from clay, is a major air pollutant and the second largest contributor to global warming after carbon dioxide. The kilns in Bangladesh mostly run from November to April and have been identified by authorities as a key cause of air pollution. Environment Ministry Secretary Mansurul Alam said, and I quote, "We have started phasing out the use of bricks from this year, and by 2025, their use will be completely phased out. Construction, including the building of major bridges, metro railway lines, and elevated highways, has been a key economic driver in the South Asian nation in recent years." Leading environment group BAPA said the illegal kilns made up the majority of those in use in the country. In Florida, nearly 15 years after a citrus disease-carrying bug landed from China, decimating more than 90% of Florida's groves, growers and scientists are frantically researching for permanent solutions to save the Sunshine State's backbone industry from Huanglongbing bacterium, or the yellow dragon disease in Chinese, known worldwide as HLB.
Well, before greening, or HLB, came into the state in 2006, we were producing around 250 million boxes of oranges for juice. And this year the projection is we'll produce around 80 million. So we've lost a great deal of our productive capacity. And along with that, we've lost juice plants, we've lost jobs, we've lost packing houses. We've learned that at this point, we haven't identified any way to make the trees immune to HLB. So we've now come to the realization that in order to move forward, we have to have three things. We have to have a tolerant variety on a tolerant rootstock, and we have to use appropriate cultural practices that will help it deal with the disease.
We still need the research dollars to go towards research and development of future, developing new products, and the big word GMOs. We still need the research to go into those sort of things, but reality is we can grow a quality fruit, a quality product, and a quality tree in the state of Florida using the technology that we've developed through the farming industry in our colleges.
HLB is a global problem. The United States is suffering the highest hit because the disease is impairing more than 90% of the Florida groves, and it reached California and is spreading. Everyone really wants to see a deadline for solving that. Unfortunately, we scientists don't have it. What's very important to say is that after 15 years handling this disease in Florida, we did acquire a lot of knowledge that can allow us to manage the growths on a way better way.
The future that'll save the Florida industry may well be new rootstocks and new varieties that will be able to live with the greening.
In Ecuador, young school students swap traditional school one day a week for outdoor classes in the capital's luscious ecology reserve, where they learn to live amongst nature.
O sea, cuando un niño está en el bosque, en realidad su cerebro está completamente abierto, dispuesto para el aprendizaje. Su mente, su espíritu está en un estado ideal para el aprendizaje. Cuando estás en un aula de 4 paredes, así, estresado y asustado, vas a asimilar poca información. Y pues nosotros soñamos, esperamos, estamos sembrando en ellos que el día de mañana ellos sean los que van a cuidar de estas tierras, de estos bosques.
No tiene por qué ser así. Necesitamos que en Ecuador también se generen otras iniciativas, que se abran las puertas de estos espacios. Hay muchos lugares que podrían hacerlo.
Es que me parece muy bien, excelente, porque mi hijo, o sea, no solo aprende lo que es, digamos, que las matemáticas, que el inglés, sino aprende a cómo cosechar y vivir entre la naturaleza.
In Washington State, a Seattle community receives help from the Iglesia Ni Cristo and from Bloodworks Northwest at a blood donation event. Eagle News correspondent Frendel Fejeran reports.
Did you know that 1 pint of blood could save 3 lives? For the 3rd year here in Washington State, 2 nonprofit organizations, INC Giving Project and Bloodworks, join hand in hand for today's blood drive. What makes this blood drive more significant than any other drives held in the state?
Patients need blood right now for various treatments. Whenever you possibly can, do good to those who need it. The motto that continues to inspire a multitude of people worldwide in giving back to the community any way possible. Like here in Washington State, the INC Giving Project, sponsored by the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ, partners with Bloodworks Northwest to fulfill the mission in saving lives. Donor Resources representative Rochelle expresses her passion in helping those in need and leads us to different perspectives in the act of giving and the blessing of receiving.
So it could be 80-year-old in the hospital, it could be a person getting a transfusion, it could be a person getting a transplant, an organ transplant. You just never know who might need a blood supply, and that's what we're tasked with, is making sure the community blood supply is healthy and at a healthy level so we can be prepared and at the ready for the patients in need that we serve. So if you're feeling healthy and well and you're at least 110 pounds and you're 16 and above, we need your support. We have to have community donors, donors in the field, partners to help us have a healthy blood supply to supply to the 90 hospitals that we have in Western Washington.
Per Bloodworks Northwest, the regional hospitals require 900 donors every 24 hours to assure there is ample amount of blood supply. In only less than 8 hours, 22% of the required amount has been satisfied by all those who donated at the various sites hosted by the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ statewide.
And when you hear the stories too, we get a lot of people that are donating because they're someone they know needed blood or this or that, and when you kind of hear how thankful they are for those people out there that are donating.
We are so appreciative of all the energy and efforts that have gone in to make this day successful, and I cannot wait to forward the information and all the statistics from the successful day.
Look at these smiles. How would you feel knowing you've spent an easy hour saving lives?
Donating blood not only saves lives, it brings the life of those who give. From Washington State, I'm Frendel Fejeran, Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Frendel. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook on facebook.com/Eagle News and on twitter.com/Eagle News. Thank you for watching. I'm Ace Ramirez. I'm 1 with 25.